Okay, this is Larry, and here we go again. Gentlemen and ladies, good afternoon. This contact report 75, and this was translated by the DeepL translator. Corrections and improvements made by Joseph Darmanin and Catherine Mossman, and Semyazi again was the contact person. Okay, 75th contact, Monday, 21 February, 1977. This is at 11:30 at night, 23:31. Billy, gee, girl, you really lured us out into the wilderness in this flood weather. Our cars really drowned in the mud at the edge of the forest. Probably Jacobus has to mount the snow chains to get out again. Yes, just look there on the screen. The poor guy lies in the muck and works with the chains. Semyazi, he has only just begun. I am sorry, but there really was no alternative. Over there in the area where I usually go is unfortunately not possible today because some of our friends are exploring everything over there. We do not want to disturb them in the process. However, they have been quite careless in the last few days because they have already been observed twice in their spacesuits, which they have to wear because they are not oxygen breathers in our sense. But your carnival costume wearing customs have protected them from the attention of the observers because they were probably of the opinion that they were carnival connoisseurs. Billy, that is interesting. What exactly do they do there, and where do they come from? Semyazi, they belong to the other groups working with us here on the Earth. They are also connected to our Federation and investigate radiation phenomena and underground Earth shifts that have come about as a result of various interterrestrial factors, and that will influence the future of that region. Billy, aha, but what happened on Sunday, the 13th of February, when we found a single footprint in our new house in Hinderschmid-Rudy? So, sounds like they got that house. They did. They got the house in Hinderschmid-Rudy, and they were getting ready to move in, and they found a footprint down in the muddy basement. Semyazi, I promised you this surprise. Did the photography go well? Have all four of them been captured in the film? Billy, no, unfortunately only one, but the photo is good. Do they belong to you, and how big are they? And there's a couple of pictures here of a muddy footprint. I guess the basements over there aren't concrete floor, they're dirt floors. So there's a footprint of a boot in the mud. And underneath one of the photographs, it says, taking a footprint in the basement of the center. During the exposure, the helmet and shoulder piece of a 115 centimeter tall dwarf became momentarily visible. And the photo was by Bernadette Brand. Okay, Semyazi, their size is 115 centimeters, and of course they belong to us, but they live on a smaller neighboring planet of Era. So they don't live on Era, they live on a neighboring planet of Era. They were working up there to clean the building, especially the basement, of swinging waves and fluidal energies that had settled there as a result of some earlier and not exactly positive events. We did not want you to be influenced by negative events there. That is why our friends were active there. Billy, okay, thank you very much for that. Tell that also to the little ones. By the way, I would have been quite happy if I had taken a closer look at one of them. Unfortunately, it was only for a fraction of a second. Semyazi, it would have been dangerous for the others who were with you. They would not have coped. See, an alien in the basement would probably freak them out a little bit. Okay, and there's a letter here. A strange little experience. Last Sunday, the 13th of February, 1977, I met up with Billy, Jacobus, Engelbert, and his wife Maria at Hinterschmid-Rudy. The gentleman had been busy since the morning pumping some remaining water out of the cellar of our new home. When the cellar was emptied, except for a few puddles, Billy went down to check the condition of the walls. A short time later, he came back to us with a mischievous smile and told us he had found a single small footprint. When he looked at a certain corner for the second time, nothing had been there before. I was immediately pleased and excited and offered to fetch my photographic equipment. In parentheses, I always carry it with me. End parentheses. Secretly, however, I thought to myself that Billy had surely made a mistake and had overlooked the print the first time, which could only have come from a child. Unfortunately, for once my camera was not loaded, and I also stupidly did not have any spare film with me. So I lent Billy my flash gun and we went down into the cellar together. We were alone and lit up the whole basement before Billy showed me the print. In fact, there was only this one small footprint of sorts in the whole basement, which I again tried to explain to myself rationally, in quotes. I subsequently took 4 shots with Billy's camera from different angles and distances, the last of which was from about 1.5 meters away. Over the course of the week, I did not dwell on the incident and put it to bed. Yesterday evening, February 19, 1977, Billy asked me to take a look at the last picture, saying that there were still parts of a dwarf, a helmet, and a shoulder on the outside of the footprint. Rather skeptically, I followed him, and really what I would never have dreamed of, and what I always doubted with my reason, I have now photographed myself. In the picture, there is clearly the helmet and shoulder of a creature that must have been standing immediately to the side in front of me, although I neither saw nor suspected anything of the kind. The figure is very blurred because, as I said, it was obviously standing directly in front of me. However, you can clearly see bands with which the gnome was wrapped. Billy explained to me that these were reflective bands that made a person invisible to the eye, but could be, quote, seen with the camera. I can vouch for the fact that I neither saw nor suspected anything unusual during the whole time I was in the cellar. And that was signed by Bernadette Brand. Okay, Semyazi again. Therefore, the rascal only made himself visible as long as the exposure time for the film exposure lasted. Billy, you delight my heart, girl. You already speak as I do. Semyazi, I do not understand. Billy, you have just said that the kid was a rascal. Semyazi, oh, that is what you mean. I find the term very funny and therefore use it. Quetzal and Playa have also appropriated the term. But now listen. Here I have the lists according to which you can form your core group, which will then steer your destiny in a new place of residence. Billy, okay, let us see. You wrote all the names that have an I with a J once again. That is wrong even here. Mariella is wrong. The girl's name is Mariella. But here on the second note, you wrote the addition well. May I have these notes? Semyazi, no, I will write you new ones. Billy, well, here, wait, yes, I have paper, but please write it in this publication. Semyazi, sure, do you have a pencil? Billy, yes, wait, nope, I forgot that thing. Semyazi, then I will write it with that liquid pen you gave me. Billy, that is a fountain pen, Star Child. Semyazi, but it writes with liquid. Billy, with ink, my golden child, but you can write now. Meanwhile, I am looking a little bit as they struggle to get the snow chains on down there. Look, Bernadette sleeps in Jacobus's car. She has chosen the better end. Semyazi, she does not sleep. She just dozes. Billy, how do you know that? Semyazi, look here, this device. These symbols say that. Billy, what do you not have any apparatuses for? And wait a minute, have you been fiddling somewhere with our group members in the last few days? Semyazi, sure. Our little friends have fiddled with Renaldo and in Engelbert's home. They will also be around other members in the near future. Billy, that is why. Once one noticed that Engelbert's cat went crazy. Have you been to Dolphy in Mulao lately? Semyazi, Menara was there in the area and was pursued by a rocket-like missile. Menara was there in the area and was pursued by a rocket-like missile. But because of the cat, animals are very sensitive and feel us also when in invisible state. Billy, aha. By the rocket-like missile, you mean again a jet fighter of the Swiss Air Force? Semyazi, sure, but let me rewrite the list now. Billy, please, ... Parentheses, it takes about 10 minutes before Semyazi finishes writing. Semyazi, here. And in parentheses, note, as of 2003, Olga, Margaret, Hans B., Amada, Adolf, Marcel, Paula, Sigrid, Franz, and Helga have now died. No longer in the core group are Mariella, Claire, Conrad, Herbert, Elsie, Renato, Calliope, and Dorit, in parentheses, passive member. Since the very beginning, active core group members are Jacobus, Engelbert, Guido, and Bernadette. Note, as of 2020, Engelbert and Guido have died off, or have died. Okay. Billy, thanks. Man, girl, now you use the J again. And Marcel writes with a C, not with an S. But it is not disturbing. Thank you very much for your effort. But how does the thing with the house develop? Will it work? Semyazi. At times, there are still some doubts with different group members, but this is understandable. But if things continue as before, the building will be yours in no time at all. Of course, it is up to each individual to take part in it in one form or another, because we must not compulsively interfere, according to which free will and the power of decision are of importance to each individual. So each individual must decide for himself, herself, and completely freely. So they're not going to coerce them to cough up their money to pay for the house. However, I must not hide from you that, unfortunately, I have once again been mistaken in my knowledge of human nature, according to which some unpleasant things arise, which, however, have no influence whatsoever on the building that you acquired. In order to help you, I analyzed Martin Johannes Sorge a little more closely with the technological aids provided by Quetzal. I came across some unpleasant facts. You are supposed to be the one who suffers the most, and I am also supposed to be involved. You are supposed to be the one who suffers the most, and I am also supposed to be involved. The things are already prepared in infamous form, for which you will receive the evidence in the next few days. For the time being, however, be careful not to talk about it, even if I explain the facts to you now. And in parentheses, Semyazi explained that the writer, astrologist Martin Johannes Sorge, alias Martin Duval, would take UFO photos and a matching false contact report for Billy and present them to him as real in order to take revenge on Billy, on the one hand because he did not take care of unfair wishes, but on the other hand because Sorge wanted to take Billy's position, which he failed to do. Billy, I do not think that is very nice, but I can figure out the reasons. It was bound to happen, and I have been telling you for a long time that you were wrong. Semyazi, sure, but the purpose was fulfilled as it was intended. In the future, I will be more careful and gain deeper insights from the Earth humans before I express myself about them. This incident leads me to the conclusion that in addition to the analysis, I must also consider the future interests of those to be assessed in order to grasp their thought forms. Billy, fine, but now our talk could give the impression that we are talking about one of our group members. Semyazi, you are illogical because you now know that this is not the case. Billy, that is what I wanted to hear from you so that there would not be any misunderstandings. But what should I do if I have to bring the matter to you? Semyazi, that should not be your concern, for I will give an honest answer. On the other hand, you will have already received the documents by then, after which you may also speak. Billy, ha, and when will that be? Semyazi, you will receive the material by Wednesday at the latest. Billy, and the transmission of today's conversation, when will you give it to me? Semyazi, Wednesday, in the early hours of the morning. Billy, then it will be before the material arrives. Semyazi, sure, but until then you have to keep quiet, otherwise you will not receive it because the author is then warned. Billy, then I will not have to keep silent for long. On the other hand, we can talk about it openly now. Semyazi, you are right, but you cannot hand the reports over to anyone before the documents arrive. Billy, certainly not. By the way, it only makes me wonder if this whole story is really fictional from A to Z. Semyazi, sure, but the photos are fakes. Quite bad montages, as you call them. Billy, well, then I will not concert myself with it any more and let it all come out as it must come out. Semyazi, sure, you are doing the right thing with that. Billy, okay, I guess I will go now. The ones down there will be ready soon. Apparently, we will have to pull out the second car. Semyazi, it looks like it, but it will not be much trouble for you. Jacobus controls his dangerous vehicle quite well. Please send my best regards and the best for the future to all of you, and you really have acted very well with the decision for the building. Billy, I cultivate it, but can you please at least write down here a greeting from you? Everyone would certainly be happy about it. Semyazi, certainly, ... You know, I'm going to stick a note in here. Semyazi writes a few short lines, refers to the last two lines on the second sheet of the group member list. People are so fascinated with a little note or writing or whatever from Semyazi, but she's a human, I'd say same as we are. She's not. She's way far advanced as far as technologically and spiritually, but she's still a human. It's like seeing somebody in Walmart and asking for their autograph or a greeting or whatever. I mean, I can't compare Semyazi to somebody you would meet in Walmart, but some people may have met Semyazi in Walmart because she says she walks among us. But it just amazes me that people get all, ooh, ah, over a letter written by another human. It shouldn't be that way. We're all human, technically. We're just, Earth humans are kind of down in the dirt as far as advancement. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just rambling here. Okay, Billy, thank you. That is very kind of you. But now, can you let me down to the cars? You know, everything in the forest is soaking wet from the gruesome rain. Everything is swampy, too. Besides, the forest seems to belong to a lazy person because there are branches, plastic, and junk everywhere, which makes one fly all the time on the nose. Semyazi, I will let you down with the teleporter right next to the old man there. He is Jacobus's father, is he not? Billy, that is him. He will soon be 80. Can you still let the ship buzz a bit around this, as a surprise? Semyazi, sure, but you will not hear it in the ship. Billy, it is not for me. Well, then I get out. But do not just let me get off, or I will break all my bones. We are quite high above the trees here. Semyazi, you know that such mistakes do not happen. Billy, of course, I was just trying to be funny. Obviously, however, you are not in the mood for it. Then just take care and goodbye. Semyazi, farewell. Billy's kind of nervous about stepping in the teleporter shaft or whatever it is, because I guess you can see the ground underneath you, and he's way up above the trees. Kind of worried he's gonna fall into the trees, and well, anyway. So that was it for Contact Report 75, and we'll get on to 76 when next time I get a chance. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.